This podcast is not intended to usurp or undermine the authority of your spiritual leadership. Our aim is to support the spiritual growth of our listeners. So next we're going to be talking about addictions. And so the reason we talked about fasting first was because a good way to stop an addiction is to fast.
I have a real quick question.
Yeah.
How do you handle personally coming out of fast? I can say specifically cutting out dairy for last fast. Like, you feel just so amazing and like a lot less inflammation. And then I come out of that fast period and you start eating it again. And it's either you eat absolutely none of it or you are adding it in. It just makes those symptoms come back. How do you handle kind of not making it such like a drop off a cliff? More like.
So that's a good question. When you're coming out of a fast, you don't want to do like a normal eating pattern. You want to slowly introduce fruits and vegetables back. So anything that makes your body digest a lot, fibrous foods, right? You want to limit how much you have when you're coming out of a fast. And then foods, if you feel better without having dairy, your body you'll do best if you don't have it. Because if you're eating foods that cause GI distress, you're increasing your inflammation. You increase your inflammation in your body's going to be in a constant reaction. And that's where you get the joint pain, you get the arthritis pain, you get the swelling, you get the bloating, you get, sometimes people get acne or their hair's falling out. And in reality, it's just your food. Dr. Amen, he says, eat food that loves you back. Eat food that you're nourishing. So coming out of a fast, if you're finding that you adding certain foods back in, and this is what we do for food journaling, if we're trying to find food allergies, we say stop eating a certain thing and then add it back. And if your body has a reaction, that means that you probably shouldn't be eating it. Your body doesn't like it. So if dairy is a thing for you, which I don't know if it is, then I would either cut it out. I would cut it out completely. You would feel better in general by cutting it out. I know from a personal standpoint, I'm allergic to milk, and so I would actually, there was a time period when I was like, I don't care, I'm just gonna eat it anyway, and I felt like there was brain fog. There's something called leaky gut, and what it is whenever you eat foods that your body is not tolerant to, you get these permeable little holes, I guess, in your gut, and toxins can leak out, and so that goes into your bloodstream, and that's where you get the brain fog. You don't feel good, your inflammation goes up. So when we eat foods that our body's not happy with, processed foods, dairy products, that if you're lactose intolerant, gluten intolerance, those types of things, you don't feel as well. And you actually can show in your skin too, with eczema, sometimes psoriasis, sometimes hormone imbalances are from foods that we're eating that our body's like, ooh. So in general, fasting is a great way to heal your body. And then when you start adding stuff in and you're like, you know what? I had this banana and I don't feel good with bananas. And sometimes you're like, maybe I shouldn't eat bananas, things of that nature. So
what's your supplement for milk with recipes?
Usually I use almond milk, unflavored. It's kind of liquidy, runny. So it's not as thick like milk would be. So sometimes I'll use soy milk for those types of things that are unflavored. So not vanilla, because then vanilla flavored meatloaf tastes a little weird. Been there, done that. I'm like, I shouldn't have used my vanilla almond milk, but that's all I had. So, yeah, I use that kind of thing as a substitute. They have so many different substitutes now, coconut milk and almond milk, and there's theories and research on carrageenan in it and all these different types of things in it. I mean, the main thing is if milk bothers you, don't eat it. And you have to read the labels for milk because it's even in crackers and cereals and things you wouldn't even, know. So with fasting, addictions. So there's two types of addictions. We have the substance addictions, where it's alcohol, caffeine. Who would have thought? I feel like caffeine is the most accepted addiction in the entire United States of America. But caffeine is, if you are addicted to caffeine in such a manner where it affects your life and that's all you can think about to make sure you get more caffeine, It can be a substance use disorder. And that's what they have in the psych world. It's called a DSM-5. It's actually a diagnosis. Hallucinogens, like LSD, marijuana. I mean, caffeine's in that category. So be careful how much you have. And, I know people love their Starbucks too, but there's a limit, to that. Adderall, cocaine, everything can, tobacco, those are all substance. Non-substance are more like behaviors, addictions to behaviors. And what it is, it's just that dopamine addiction. So what a behavioral addiction is that your body's seeking that dopamine. And that's in gambling, eating, it can be shopping, pornography, gaming. That is behavior because it stimulates that reward system, the dopamine in your body. So when do you think eating could be an addiction for someone?
Overeating.
Overeating.
If you're using it as comfort.
As comfort.
I think it's nostalgia.
Sometimes, yeah, nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it brings you back to places and memories and times and better
and food
times.
And food is good, like mashed potatoes and gravy and comfort food, and those aren't bad at all. It's just when food becomes somewhere where you go to get that high or that dopamine. And a lot of the times it's from sugar and like processed foods. So things like candy and chocolate. So chocolate has something in it called catecholamines, which acts like opium in your brain. It's pretty cool.
Is that the cocoa or the sugar?
It's the cocoa.
Oh.
Yeah. Catecholamines is kind of a fun word to say. Catecholamines. It's where you feel like, I would say an addiction is where you lack control. You can't, it's hard to control. It's like a compulsion. Many times addictions that are behavior-based are rooted out of obsessive compulsive disorders, where you feel a compulsion to do something you don't really know why. And you have a withdrawal. So caffeine addiction, if you don't have it in the morning, sometimes people get headaches. Or if they don't have sugar, they get depressed. Because sugar has become that dopamine reward. And if you don't have that dopamine reward, you get the opposite, where you get depressed. Yes.
So if they're depressed and they eat a Jolly Rancher, they feel better?
Yeah, they can.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Anything that increases that dopamine. That's where pornography is very popular now. Gaming, gambling. It's interesting how God gives us gifts and we turn them into obsessive things. We're so good at becoming extremes here in the United States. So you have to be aware of that, that to getting that dopamine. And guess what? Saturated fats, they did research. Saturated fats actually dumb down your dopamine receptors. So the more saturated fat you eat, the less sensitive your dopamine is. So you need more of something to increase your dopamine levels. So healthy eating, guess what, increases your dopamine naturally? What have we been talking about? Plant-based foods. Mm-hmm. So plant-based foods help increase your dopamine, especially nuts and seeds.
How fast does that take?
I would say a 4 to 5 days.
Okay.
Tyrosine is a natural amino acid in like certain meats, and it's an amino acid that is a precursor, or it helps make dopamine. So tyrosine is found in some meats like turkey, legumes, like we talked about, nuts and seeds, some dairy products. So eating protein-rich foods helps your body increase its own dopamine levels. So other ways are limiting that saturated fat that we talked about. So lean meats are important. So we have, this is my easy way of thinking about meats. If it starts with an L, like loin, sirloin, tenderloin, pork loin, it's usually lean. That's That's how my brain works when it comes to certain things. So just think, I want to try to find the less fat in food, like turkey and beef, the less percentage, the better. It might be like, oh, I don't get all the flavor. Well, do you want to help your body, or do you not want to help your body? So grass-fed is better because it doesn't have as many toxins in it, but I would definitely limit.
What about ground turkey?
It's good.
It's good.
Yep.
I mean, it's
Yep, it has lean. It's lean. Lean. And then gut health. So we want our gut to be healthy. Remember, we just talked about leaky gut and how if we eat certain foods, your body will not tolerate them well. You get more inflammation. So your body has something called a gut-brain axis. It's kind of been popular now because your gut makes about 80 to 90% of your serotonin and your dopamine levels. So if your gut isn't healthy and you're constantly eating processed foods, and you're having diarrhea and you're having constipation and you're having these things, it's going to affect the amount of dopamine you have. It's an ongoing cycle. Well, then you want more dopamine. How are you going to get more dopamine? You're going to eat those processed foods. You're going to eat those high saturated fats because you crave those things. You're going to eat sugar. You're going to eat those high reward system type things. Okay, well now your gut isn't healthy anymore because you're eating those things in your body. It's like, what are you feeding me? This is not food. I don't know how to process this properly. It will process it. It won't be the best because it's not real food, right? It's been processed. Whole food is always better. So then your gut isn't healthy and you're eating maybe foods that you're intolerant to, and then your brain health isn't the greatest, and then you get depressed, and then you want to go eat more food as comfort. It's like an ongoing. So fasting, stop it. It just stops it. And then readdress where you're at, whether it's 24 hours, 2 days, 3 days, and say, I need to reset my body. I need to heal this body. And then hopefully some of the addictions like caffeine will start to decrease. Sugar addictions will happen pretty quick. You'll feel it pretty quick if you're addicted to sugar if you cut back. But you'll feel better. And hopefully that motivation of feeling better will actually help you be motivated to continue. So I usually recommend for people that when they do something positive for their health, whether it's cutting back on something or they're fasting, they do something positive for themselves, really try to focus and journal on how you feel, how you sleep, how you think, how you interact, because that's going to be a long-term motivator versus, I lost a pound. Well, what if you gain that pound back? Are you now less motivated? So focus on the positive outcomes that are not weight related. And another funny thing is, not funny, but whenever somebody says, I lost 15 pounds, our brain is very good at saying, if you lost it, you need to find it. I know it's weird, it's psychology. Is it for weight management? If you say you lost it, then you give yourself permission to relax a little bit, to not be as restrictive or follow it so much. And then it's almost like subconsciously you lost it and you're going to find it back. So you could read about that, but I always say change your verbiage to I reduced my weight, or I'm trying to find a healthy weight management, things of that nature, versus like I lost pounds or I lost weight. And also, I recommend, just as a side note, to throw your scale out. I don't tell people to weigh themselves because we're not a number. So if you see a number on a scale and you're like, okay, I have a goal here. And so the focus is on the weight versus actually what the benefits of eating healthy are, which is your purpose, healing, feeling good, thinking properly so you can fulfill your purpose. That's the healthy eating. We have, I say, dumbed it down to just, you're a number on a scale. And so your value is that number up and down. For women, it's really hard. So that's why I say, if you are a woman and you struggle with your weight, I just say, don't even weigh yourself. Go by how you feel in your clothing, how are you sleeping, things that actually matter to you and that are important.
Thanks for tuning in to the HV Church Podcast. We hope this episode encouraged and inspired you in your walk with God. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And feel free to share this podcast with a friend or family member who might need to hear it. If you want to learn more about HV Church or connect with us, visit hvchurch.com or follow us on our social media pages. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.